And hello to everyone. For my subscribers, welcome back to my new video. And if you are new to my channel, please go and watch my previous videos to see what we are up to. This video will be a treat to everyone because not only do we have some great 4x4 driving in silky soft sand all the way to Ponta Do Ouro, but we also get to see us stop at our favorite pit stops to either top up on refreshments or sit down to have lunch, and as I always say, just explore the surroundings. So if you've watched my previous videos, you would know that we had a music festival happening, and we had about 600-700 people plus at the campsite, and it was chaotic. So we stayed on for a few days. For those of you who don't know, the road all the way to Ponta Malongane is a single rural soft sand road, and if 200 vehicles are attempting to get back to the border, it can get really ridiculous. Vehicles are getting stuck everywhere. People are recovering vehicles left, right and center, and it just becomes a big mess. So we always stay on for about 2, 3, 4 days for most of the campsite to get empty and leave the site, so that we can just do the exploration on our own. And I suppose to a point where it's enjoyable and it's not too crowded. And also please take note, for the video driving portions of this video, I did speed up the videos a little bit, so if it does look like I'm driving like a maniac, I'm not. Most probably 20 kilometers at most, but I just thought I would make the video a little bit shorter, so I sped up the driving on the sand portions a little bit. I really hope you guys enjoy. We're gonna have 3 pit stops that we're gonna make, and then one last pit stop, which will be the final one, and that will be the last at Ponta Do Ouro. So I did say I sped up the driving portion of the video a bit, so apologies, but to the left and the right on this section, which is about a kilometer just outside the gate of the actual campsite, is quite a few stalls. You can't really see, apologies again, but great stalls if you want to buy some wooden ornaments made locally by the community. Branded clothing that says either Ponta or Malongane or Mozambique, or whatever the case may be. So sorry that you couldn't see that, but I'll hopefully put some photos in there. So even though you see the vehicle stopping here, this is not one of the pit stops that I meant that we made. Well, this is a pit stop we made, definitely, but it's not the ones that I purposely wanted you to see. You will definitely know further down the video which pit stops I'm talking about. But we had to stop here to just fill up the cooler box with some nice refreshments, cool drinks, some ice, a lot of ice obviously for the cooler box, get some snacks, because we had about 15 to 20 kilometers to do or drive in the sand. And you know, it's always nice to keep the mouth busy with some snacks and some ice as we drive around. So back on the road we are after our refreshments that we are topped up. There won't be much voiceover from here until the first pit stop, actual pit stop that I meant we made, to just talk about it and tell you a little bit about the reasons why we stopped there. But I hope you enjoy watching us driving. This is all the little dinghies, little shops. Most of them are not open. It's little huts that sell a beer or a pack of ice, or not really snacks, not really food. Strange enough, there's a Vodacom shop. I only realized that now, but it's closed. But anyways, I will see you at the first pit stop. So this is stop number 1, Lorenzo's bar, and mainly because we like this place is because we became such good friends with the owner, Lorenzo, and his brother, his son. His wife was there all the time. His wife braided all the women's hair for free while all the men sat and had a drink. The day before we wanted to have some lunch here, they didn't have anything to offer, so they literally went and caught a chicken, made a fire at the back, made a beautiful sauce for the chicken, and served it to us. And what an experience that was. So once again it was time to move on to our next destination. And so for those of you who don't know, I drive a Isuzu D-Max 4x4, and I don't want to get in trouble to the Toyota and the Jeep owners out there, but we recovered quite a few vehicles, especially a Fortuner 4x4, a Jeep 4x4. So even though the sandy road that you can see in front of you, at some stages or some places it looks quite easy and just fun to drive, but it really does take a person who has driven at least once or twice in very soft sand or soil to be able to do this road. A normal 2x4, believe you me, would not be able to. We attempted it our first time. It was a BT50, it was a 2x4, diff lock meant absolutely nothing. So I know, again, just to reiterate, the road does look like some places, yes, it's okay, but as you can see, I do choose like whether I go left or go right very carefully. I look at the road and see where the latest footprints are. So like for example there, I didn't take a left because the road to the right looked easier a little bit, I suppose. But yes, the soft sandy soil conditions can get tough if you don't have the right vehicle to drive. And this was stop number 2 we made, Nino's Pop restaurant. There's really just 2 reasons why we had to stop here. The prawn cakes, locally made, is out of this world. Even though it meant to be a starter, we ordered plates and plates and plates of it. And then secondly, you just cannot compare the most beautiful view of the ocean that you have and sit and you enjoy your lunch and just look at the beautiful view of the ocean. And once again, we were back on the road. Again, just to remind you guys, I did speed up the video portions. I am not driving fast at all. It really looks fast, it doesn't. I need to drive slow, obviously, to be able to keep traction in the sand. But enjoy watching the driving again until we get to our next destination. A little bit of a story time for you guys. As I mentioned before, with the BT250, we attempted from the border driving to Malongane, and we ended up getting stuck for 6 hours in the sand. There wasn't a building or a person around us for 5 kilometers. We eventually got to our camp. We got inside the camp, we set up camp, and then we wanted to go and explore, and the vehicle could not even get out of the gate of the campsite. So which was quite funny, but lessons learned, and this time around obviously we don't have that problem. So I can't remember exactly where next it was in the video, where the road got really bumpy and sticky. But just to give you guys an idea, my poor passenger, we obviously had seat belts on, and each time we had a jerk or a bump and a jump, obviously the seat belt would lock, and her arms were too short to hold on to the handlebars. And by the time we got to Ponta Do Ouro, she sat with such a big blue arm of the seatbelt that kept on locking on her as we were jumping and shaking all about. So now remember, it was actually this portion here for the next maybe 100 or 200 meters where the road got really so bad. I had to make sure I keep motion, keep traction, but it didn't mean a lot. We in fact recovered 2 vehicles on the same spot the day before. You would see that there's a lot of digging been done. As you can see, I'm choosing again a specific road. The left looked really rough, but then I got this little section that came up, and this is where we recovered the vehicles. The sand was so soft and so thick. I did speed up here a little bit, that's why the bucky was jumping and all about, but we were through, and no hassles at all. So this little section that's coming up now, as you can see, a lot of digging and grooving has been done already by previous vehicles, and it's all uphill also at the same time. So even though I had sped up the video a little bit, I am driving a little bit faster because I'm trying to keep that traction and movement going forward. But once again, we made it through easily. So we almost in Ponta Do Ouro. I just wanted to mention to you guys, all these houses on the left and the right that you see, or some of them that's left, you'll see some of them is burned down. It's actually some of the houses that goes back all the way to this, let's call it the civil war that took place among the Mozambican people and the Portuguese, and Mozambican locals wanted the Portuguese out there. So they literally went and burned down their houses and demolished it, and some of them are still obviously ruined, some of them are built back up, it's got new owners, but we're getting closer to Ponta Do Ouro, so I'll see you soon. Oh, and something I want to mention is I know every driver's got their own skills and skill sets to drive in the sand, and they've got their own way of doing things, but something that helped me a lot is I kept a close eye on the rear view mirror to see if my diff is obviously sliding in the sand, or whether I can see a trail of my diff in the sand, and that's when I know obviously I'm close to bellying out if the sand is too thick. But that's just a personal preference for myself, and it obviously helped me. As I mentioned before about the Civil War and the locals chasing away the Portuguese, here's a better view of the houses, maybe to the right and to the left. To the left you'll see there's a newly built house and a lot of rubble, and there's someone building a house back up again. But as we're driving a little bit further just past the rubble there, you can see some houses are still burned down. There's a house to the left which is newly built. But that's unfortunately what happened a lot of years ago, at least to say. But they are building the houses back up. It's getting new owners. They are pretty much converting the houses to accommodate your tourists and your locals. Some people obviously move to Mozambique. They build houses back up and they live there. But you can see here, obviously, like I said, the burned versus the newly built houses to the left and the right. And maybe if I didn't mention it before, this is the only rural road that you can take, that you can drive, which takes you from Ponta Do Ouro to Ponta Malongane, or vice versa, Ponta Malongane to Ponta Do Ouro. Now recently the road has been tarred from the border to Ponta Do Ouro, but obviously we don't go to Ponta Do Ouro, we choose Ponta Malongane, so we're always in the sand, and we've got the 4x4 and we enjoy it much more, obviously. And we are officially in Ponta Do Ouro. As you can see, a lot more activity, a lot more colors, a lot more people, a lot more movement, vehicles. There's a lot more stalls to the left and the right there. Again, all ornaments and beautiful clothing made by the locals. Please support them if you ever go there. If you can see on the right there, a lot of beautiful stuff that you can take with you back to South Africa if you visit this place. Apologies for this really random stop that we made here. We actually forgot to bring bowls with us to eat food out of. We only had plates, which made some nights a little bit difficult, but still fun. It's always fun. It's always an adventure. We enjoy it. Unfortunately, all the shops, this was a bottle store, that would definitely not have bowls. We decided, okay, we will just move on and forget about the bowls, and we're going to our next destination. And then for a couple of seconds there, we couldn't make up our mind whether we should go to the left or to the right. And I want to mention the place right in front there. You can't really read it, but it says Ethnic Thread, and it is locals that actually make their clothing there, and you can buy local clothing that's made by the locals, which is pretty cool. And here we are at stop number 3, Florestina do Indico. What a nice place. You would see I've got flip-flops on, but at one stage as you go or move into the restaurant, you actually take your shoes off. It's all sand. Everything is sand. Inside the bar is sand, inside the restaurant is sand, everything is sand, so you might as well just walk barefoot. At one stage, like I said, you'll see my shoes is actually on the bar next to me, because we're walking barefoot around in the sand, which is really, really, really nice. So this is still the same restaurant, but this is if you enter the bar or restaurant from the seaside, and we found this beautiful hut to sit, nice and cool. We've got a nice view of the ocean, to sit and have some lunch again, and have a few drinks and just enjoy the view of the ocean. And here we are at stop number 4, which was our last stop, and this is Ponta Do Ouro main beach. It's got a little bit more going on versus Malongane, obviously. There's a little surf shop, a huge area where you can sit, have breakfast, supper, lunch, whatever you choose, just to have drinks, a beautiful view of the ocean. And that is where we spent the rest of the day before we headed back to Malongane. And here we are to all the great friends we made, the beautiful memories we made, and the scenery that was out of this world. If you guys did enjoy this video, Please don't forget to give it a like. Please leave a comment of what you think. Subscribe if you want. Click that notification bell to stay tuned, as we are going to be moving to our next destination.